My voice is very bad, and when the chantings were going on, I also tried to join with that and found that voice is bad. But as it happens generally, and a little surprisingly, that when I keep on talking, the voice starts becoming better and better. So it is always a difficulty for me to start with the slokas with which I start. So let me try. Swamin namaste natalokabandho karunya sindho patitam bhavabdho mamuddharatmiya kataksha drishtya rajvyati karunya sudhabhivristya swamin namaste swamin namaste swamin namaste swamin namaste yat kirtanam yat smaranam yadikshanam yad vandanam yad shravanam yadarhanam lokasya sadyo vidhunoti kalmasham tasmai subhadrashravase namo namah vichakshana charanopasadanat sangam vyudasyo bhayatontaratmanah vindanti brahmagatim gataklamaha tasmai subhadrashravase namo namah tasmai subhadrashravase namo namah tasmai subhadrashravase namo namah. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru. Namrata announced that for the last 6 months I am taking this section of Nimi-Navayogi Samvada, where the yogi Prabuddha is replying to the question of King Nimi. The original question was, please tell us the devotional disciplines by which we human beings who are bound in all kinds of desires and expectations, fears, how we can get liberated. And then while the conversation was going on, when King Parikshit also asked that please tell us in a very simple manner so that people of low intelligence also can understand how they can pursue this path and become liberated soon. So then Yogi Prabuddha started talking. And as I told you, it is in the 11th skandha of Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd chapter. It starts from the 21st verse and up to 32. His instructions are there. And we have been taking up one by one all the instructions that he has given. And the first one, I will again remind you, it says that one must go to a guru who is self-realized, who is well versed in the scriptures, that he lives the scriptures. He is absolutely quiet. He has samatva in his mind, and he sees God everywhere. He has no desire of his own. He is absolutely quiet in his mind. So, this is what the Guru is. And that Guru, when such a seeker comes and asks questions, gives him instructions. So in this, the Yogi Prabuddha is saying one must go to the Guru, serve him, and ask questions, and also take to the instructions which the Guru gives, and then only one will be able to have liberation. And I tell you, again and again I remind you, it is not only hearing, not only listening, not only just reading, and not only knowing that such and such thing has been spoken by Prabuddha Yogi. It is to be learned, it is to be assimilated, understood and assimilated, and then lived. One must live it. So how do we live it? We have to constantly go through these instructions. Remember, we'll forget 100 times, but again, with lot of enthusiasm, we should remember them, go deep into them, and from the time we are awake, from morning to night, in all our thoughts, all our activities, all our actions and interactions, we should assess ourselves, analyze ourselves. Are we really following these instructions, or are we slipping from them? If we are slipping, how to bring about more and more sincerity in our pursuit? So, in one hand, there is the knowledge, and on another hand is the constant introspection and also the constant mumuksha to go forward to ultimately know what this real identity is, what God is, what self is, what Brahman is. So, I have actually last session come to the 32nd verse, the end of it, which says, just the previous one, after having told all the instructions, where most of it are disciplines which we can all do, and we should love to do them. We then come to a stage when the mind, it withdraws from the little attractions of the worldly life. The worldliness goes away, and slowly the mind starts getting more and more devoted to God. That is bhakti, virakti, and bhagavat prabodha. As the devotion to God increases, that is, we understand this life is ephemeral. Many of the things that we hold on to, we wish to have, we are constantly desiring and expecting, is absolutely transient, and it will never give us happiness in eternal measures. So, when we understand that, and also simultaneously we start reading about what is God, what is self, what is Brahman, and the magnificence, the greatness, and in devotional text, the excellences and glory of God. And we understand that we are created by that Supreme alone. We are part of it. We are His. When this knowledge settles down in our mind, naturally what happens, we become more and more interested in listening or hearing or reading. We will always feel, when I will hear something about God, something about self, something about spiritual matters, we will like to associate with such people who are of that kind, the like-minded people. And what happens then? So bhakti grows. Bhakti through this pursuit grows. Or you can say in devotional matter, devotional text, bhakti towards God grows. And as that grows, what is happening spontaneously and automatically? Virakti also grows. When the mind goes towards God or goes within, naturally the mind goes away from worldliness. So in the 31st sloka it says that when we take to these disciplines and we follow them, we pursue them, we are sincerely wanting them and sincerely pursuing them, what happens? There is a bhakti which is generated, which transcends the bhakti which we usually call bhakti. We all we all are devoted to God. We think about God, we worship God, we chant His name, we light lamps. We feel a lot of divinity when we go to a place where His worship is going on, or we ourselves do meditation on His form. That is bhakti. And we feel very divine, very pure, very sublime when we think of Him. But our bhakti makes us only remain in the association or thought of God for a little period, morning, evening, or maybe sometimes. We do the disciplines, that is every day for some time or other, we are in our spiritual or devotional discipline. Rest of the time we are in worldliness. So when we pursue these instructions which is given by Prabuddha, and I told you again and again in Bhagavatam you will find everywhere, many of the skandhas, similar instructions are given. Why they are given? Why they are repeatedly given? Because we forget. So if we read them, we will be coming across the similar kind of disciplines which through somebody or other, Vyasadeva has told us that see, this is what you should do if you want to get liberated, if you want to know the self, if you want to know God, if you want to cut asunder this I-ness, the bondage because of that, then please pursue these disciplines. He is telling us very lovingly. So, when Prabuddha Yogi says this, he says that ultimately what will happen, these disciplines you will transcend, the disciplines of only thinking about God or being in a spiritual or devotional routine only for a little while. You will be transcending to what? When you will feel Him always. You will find Him always. That is, that spontaneous love for Him, which does not want anything from God, is absolutely unconditional and unmotivated love and devotion for God. It is always there. You will feel Him everywhere, surrounding you. So, at that time, what happens, he is describing in the 32nd verse, which I have taken. It says that such a devotee will be sometimes shedding tears, sometimes laughing, dancing, singing. He will be rejoicing. Sometimes he will be taking God's name. There will be a great enthusiasm to imbibe the qualities of God or imbibe the qualities of the holy people. And ultimately, he becomes tushnim bhavanti. Parametya nirbritaha tushnim bhavanti. That is, he becomes completely silent. How? Then everything fades away and he becomes absorbed within himself. So, in that, while saying this, I also talked about Prahlada's episode because it's very similar and what Prahlada has told his schoolmates. See, Prahlada's schoolmates, he called them and told them that, my dear friends, this is what will happen if we think about Lord's exploits and glories. What will happen is that we will have excessive joy. We will have horripilation all over our body and tears will be shedding. The whole face will be flooded with tears. That is, because of that love, spontaneous love, all these things will happen. He also says that one will behave like as if he is a possessed person. He will sometimes laugh, cry, sometimes he will be in meditation, sometimes he will be looking everywhere and saluting, because everywhere he finds God. Not only within himself, not only that, this tushnim bhavanti, where he is absorbed in himself and is united with God or the Supreme or the Self within himself. When he opens his eyes, he finds God everywhere. Everywhere he sees. In every perception he sees. So, as when we are in front of an idol or an image and we fold our hands and we close our eyes in pranam, prostration. Similarly, when he is awake, he finds everywhere it is God or self, and he starts doing prostration to everything and everybody. In that condition, he starts breathing heavily and he starts taking the name of God, sometimes loudly. He completely forgets his I-ness. He is not shy anymore. He is not shy. He becomes oblivious of where he is sitting. He just feels this is everything filled with God, filled with the soul, filled with Atma. In that condition, what happens is that Tadapuman Mukta Samasta Bandhanaha, that is the time when a man, when he gets absolutely united, Nitya Yukta he becomes. He actually gets liberated from all kinds of bondages of mind and intelligence, the shackles of the mind. Otherwise, why do we feel shy? We feel shy to cry out in joy in the name of God. We feel shy to take his name even loudly when many people are there, and we feel that, oh, what will others think? This man doesn't think anything because his I-ness has got dissolved. He feels that God is everywhere, and whatever emotion is there, it gets expressed. Tadapuman mukta samasta bandhanaha, and that is the time the man is liberated from all bondages, and all his subtle tendencies and impure tendencies all get absolutely burnt off. All the desires get burnt off. He has no desire, no expectation. And just like if there is a burnt seed, if we sow it, nothing will sprout. Similarly, since the desires are extinct, there will not be any disturbance in the mind because of desires. And we know that when the desires are extinct, the mind becomes calm and the self or God is revealed within oneself. So when the desires are not there, it is just like nirdagdha bija, that is a burnt off seed. It is like that. And by the application of this great power of bhakti, the devotion which generates, it's not generated, it just comes out spontaneously. Self-effulgent it is. It just comes unconditionally, unmotivatedly, without any reason. And that is how one gets absolutely united with one's own self, within oneself. Adhokshajam sameti. And what happens when one attains the Supreme inside oneself? Adhokshajalam hamiha shubhatmanaha. This one I had done. It says that one feels as if one is embraced by God. My dear children, just stop for a while. Just think, what is that feeling? What is that experience? To be feeling that we are embraced by God, embraced by the self, and self is everywhere. Inside me, outside me, on my sides, on upwards, downwards, in every direction. It is self and self alone. There is no separate identity. It is just one. So when there is one, who will hate whom? Who will love whom? Who will desire from whom? Nothing is there. It is that samarasa. Samarasa. So that kind of alambham in devotional text, one feels that God is surrounding me. God is embracing me. God is with me. Wherever I am going, He is with me. He talks to me. He tells me. So this kind of Govinda Parirambhitaha. Prahlada was like that. Whatever he did, whether he was walking, sitting, eating, bathing, talking, lying. Every moment he felt he was embraced by God. He himself used to feel it. He is a 7-year-old small boy. He has felt it. He has had that blissfulness. So he is telling his friends, my dear friends, do this, do all these. Then you will also be experiencing this embrace of the Lord, the divine embrace. We get embraced by our near and dear ones. And we look for those embraces. The husband and wife, parent with children, friends. We want those embraces. We don't want God's embrace. How many of us, we think right in the morning that today I will have God's embrace. Till I experience it, I will not get up from my seat. Lord Buddha had said this. When he was meditating, he said that I am sitting on this my asana till my body becomes dry and I becomes absolutely thin, and I am ready to die unless I have nirvana. He said like this. If not that, at least that feeling should come. We must remember at least that, oh, such a thing is there, how it should be, how it is. I will try for that. So, Adhoksha Jalamita, Prahlada is saying that, oh my dear friends, for all the Ashubha Atmanas, the embodied beings are Ashubha Atmanas. Embodied beings, all of us are embodied. And why we are Ashubha Atmana? Shubha is auspicious, Ashubha is inauspicious. And Ashubha Atmana means we, for whom the human beings, the embodied beings, their minds are filled with undesirable traits, evil tendencies, unwanted tendencies, various traits which constantly make him suffer, constantly make him undergo fear, anxiety, stress, hatefulness, dislike for others, criticism, blamefulness, intolerance, arrogance, all these things. Human beings are filled with these. So they are Ashubha Atmanaha. When will it become Shubha? When all this will go? How will it go? Why are all these there? They are because of the gunas and because we have desires and expectations. If we analyze all our behavior, our thoughts even, our actions, we'll find the root cause of every behavior is a desire. And those desire is desire of self-interest, selfish desire, not selfless desire. Selfless desires are good. When we think of others, when we want the welfare of others, we give up our own comforts and luxury and everything. We do for others. Even if we cannot do, at least we think for others, feel for them, sympathize with them. We cry for them, weep for them. Those are selfish, selfless. But mostly our desires are selfish. Only for me and my family. Maxima few more others, friends and extended family. All desires, all expectations are for one's own self-interest, one's own happiness. So, Ashubha Atmanaha. When will we become Shubha Atmanaha? When all these desires will be extinct. So, in all this, whatever Prahlada has told before this, he has also given some instructions or advice to his friends, which is similar to what Yogi Prabuddha is giving. And not in so much of detail, but the gist is same. That go to a guru and learn. Fall at his feet, learn from him. See everybody as equals. Whatever you do, consider as an offering to God. Whatever you possess, feel that you have got everything because God has given you. See God everywhere as you see Him inside you. All these things, similar. And then he says, adhokshajaalambhamiha ashubhatmanaha sharirinaha samsriti chakra shatanam. So he says that when that embrace is felt and experienced, the embodied beings who are ashubha atmanas, that is, embodied beings having evil tendencies, all those will be removed. They will be purified. Purified by the embrace of the Supreme. What does it mean really? It is always happening. When we are growing in love for God, our tendencies, our desires fall off. That is how we grow in virakti also. Our dispassion towards world diminishes, reduces. Our desires and greed or attractions for many things which are unnecessary simply falls off. So when there is an embrace, we feel already the mind has got purified. Tad brahma nirvana sukham viduru buddhaha. The wise people say that this embrace that one feels when desires have gone, ego has gone, possessiveness has gone, in one's own activity one always feels that I belong, nothing belongs to me. Everything belongs to God and God alone. Always one feels that I am the instrument and I am doing work for Him, for His pleasure. So it becomes an offering to God. When such a state is there and one starts finding God everywhere, and then at that moment, mukta samasta bandhanaha, the bondages have gone and one feels one is surrounded by God, not only inside, outside, everywhere. Tad brahma nirvana sukham vidur buddhaha. The buddhaha, the wise people who have followed this path, who have followed these instructions and tread the path towards the aim, the supreme felicity, they say, viduhu, buddhaha viduhu, they knew it, and they say, tell others that tat brahma nirvana sukham, that is the sukha out of the bliss of oneness with Brahman. The sukha that one feels at that time, with the union with one's own soul, you can say, self you can say, God you can say, or Brahman you can say. That oneness where all differential attitude goes away, all fragmentation goes away. It is only the samarasa, only the same consciousness. At that time, it is described in this devotional text as Brahma Nirvana Sukham, the happiness which arises not because of any object, independent of any object. The happiness arises because it is the Nirvana Sukha. It is a Sukha which is generated by the blissfulness of oneness with Brahman. Tato bhajadvam. If this is what is going to happen, Prahlada is telling his friends, my dear friends, this is what will happen to you. You will always feel an embrace as if you are embraced. And that embrace is as if you are being touched by Brahman or Vishnu. This is what is going to happen. So what you should do, my dear friends, tato bhajadvam hridaye hridishwaram. In your hridaya, in your heart is your Ishvara. Your God is there in your heart as your Hridishvara. Tato bhajadvam. So worship the Lord of your heart, God of your heart. Where will you worship? Inside your heart. Hridaye. Hridaye Hridishwaram bhajadvam. Worship him there. He is telling. And then he goes on. He doesn't stop. He's trying to tell his dear friends. He's trying his best to take their minds away from the Asura Bhava. See, they are all belonging to the Asura clan. So there is lot of tendencies which are very cruel, unkind, hurtful. So he has had this embrace of the Lord. His mind is absolutely quiet. He has become one with the Lord inside him and finds God everywhere. So he is trying to turn the minds of his dear friends and telling them, please do this, then you will also be calm, peaceful and joyous always. All these bhavas, the tendencies which are not proper, will simply leave you. And then he says, Koti prayaso asura balaka hare rupasane swe hridi chidravat sataha swaswatmanas sakhyu ashesha dehinam samanyatah kim vishayopapadanaihi. He says, you are the sons of Asura. Chidravat sataha. God is like space. He's everywhere. See, if we can feel God everywhere, wherever we go, we are surrounded and we are enveloped by space. He is like that. He says, my dear friends, God is like that. And He pervades not only outside, inside our heart also. He is the soul of one's soul. He is the greatest friend. Ashesha dehinam sakhyu. Of all the beings, of every being, He is a friend. He is a friend of each and every embodied being. And where is He? He is like the space everywhere. He pervades outside and inside. So, to worship Him, what is the difficulty? What is the difficulty? My dear children, understand this sloka. What is the difficulty? Actually, He is always with us. Always with us. See, there may be parents whose very dear son has gone abroad and staying there, maybe studying or gone with a job. How much distance is there? Only when you get leave you can come and meet the parents. So the meeting will be only at times. And here, with God, always He is there. We are not thinking. God is always there. Our self is always there. Brahman is always there, everywhere. Everywhere. Only because our mind and intelligence does not take to the introspection, in spite of the knowledge that it is all pervading. We do not introspect and allow our mind or intelligence to feel it every moment. Why we do not? Because our mind is occupied with other things. He is everywhere. So he is saying, to worship Him, to commune with Him, kaha atiprayasaha. Kaha atiprayasaha. What is the great difficulty? What is the great difficulty or endeavor? No endeavor is necessary. Nothing is necessary. You just think that He is everywhere. Think whenever you can. My dear children, these are not just to be heard or listened to. One has to practice it. Think whenever you can. Yes, I understand. We have not been told to do this so far. Now when we know, where is the difficulty in thinking? At times, let it come to your mind. Whenever you can, think. And within no time you will find that Spontaneously this thought is coming to your mind. You don't have to think even. Because we have not practiced. Whatever we practice, we gain it. Now this should be our practice. What is the advantage, or why are we reading this? To pursue it. And this is what he is saying. Kaha adiprayasaha. He said it in such a beautiful sloka, such a simple sloka. Kaha adiprayasaha. Koti prayaso suravalaka hare rupasane sve hridi chidravat sataha swasyatmana sakyurashesha dehinam samanyata kim vishayopapadanaihi. He says, kaha atiprayasaha. What is the great difficulty? Samanyataha. Then he says, yes, prayasaha is there. That is, difficulty becomes so. One finds it difficult because the mind goes to worldliness. Generally, the mind goes to worldliness. But what is the need of that, my dear friends? What is the need of such enjoyments which will not remain with you, which are transitory, momentary, ephemeral? Why is your mind going behind that? Instead of thinking all that which is going to leave you in no time. Why is it that you are not thinking this which is already there? Everywhere surrounding you, God is there. Think that. There is no difficulty. There is no special endeavor necessary. It is already there. And what we do, we are allowing our mind not to indulge in this thought, which is the reality, which is the supreme truth. We take away our mind from that, and the whole day we are thinking of things which will not remain with us. Our property will not remain with us. Our luxuries will not remain with us. Family will not remain with us. Our bodily health will not remain with us. Our qualifications, our positions, our prestige, our name, fame, nothing will remain with us. All the things that we acquire, giving so much of thought, so much of time, energy, all the things that we acquire and we still like to acquire, will be simply going away without them. What will happen to the house that one has built after so many years? Who is going to stay there? Who knows? Does anybody remember one's grandfather's name? No, we do not even know what they did, how they looked like, what were their thought processes. Nothing we know. Similarly, who is going to remember about us? But we remain engaged in spite of knowing all this. I think everybody knows this. But in spite of all that, our mind is constantly circling and circling with unnecessary things, which are transitory things, which are perishable. And we simply give very little time to what we should really think. So Prahlada is trying to inspire his friends, saying, Raya kalatram pashava sutadayo grihamahi kunjarakosha bhutayah sarvetha kama kshanabhangurayushaha kurvanti martasya kiyat priyam chalaha. He says, to establish this fact and make the friends feel that this world and life is really short-lived, is perishable, is transitory and momentary, he's telling this. He's saying, my dear friends, Raya kalatram pashavas sutadayo griha mahi kunjara kosha bhutaya. He has listed out many things. What are the many things? Everyday life. Raya is wealth, kalatram, wife, pashavaha, cattle, sutadayaha, children, grihaha, house or building, mahi is the land that one owns, kunjara, elephants. Those days, elephants and horses, those were the properties. Nowadays it is car, various kinds of cars, various model cars. One is not satisfied with what one has, always trying to get the newer and newer. So, and kosha bhutayaha, treasury, that is how much money you have, bank balance, savings, all those. So, these were written long back, but everything is similar. And he says what? He says, all these objects of possession and enjoyment, sarve arthaha kamaha, shanabhangura ayushaha chalaha, they are shanabhanguraha. Any moment things will be destroyed. Either by nature's fury, or by, say, what war is going on, either by earthquake, flood, accident, and war is going on, any disease may come. So many things can happen. Suddenly everything may go away. Shana bhanguraha, ayushaha, chalaha. And the person, these are all temporary or flickering. So martasya, for a person whose lifespan is uncertain, who will die. Martasya means who is going to die, and whose lifespan is uncertain and short. Kiyat priyam kurvanti. How much joy can all this bring about to him? How much joy? How much joy will these bring about? Even if we are thinking that we are enjoying, that enjoyment, is it not smeared with huge amount of fear and uncertainty? So he is trying to tell his friends that life is like that. And through his friends, through his words, who is telling whom? Vedavyasa is telling all the human beings, this is life. Showing a finger and telling everybody, this is what life is. So, don't delay. Turnam yateta na patet anumrityu yavat. So, he says that Turnam yateta. At another point, Vedavyasa is telling through somebody that when you know this, immediately try to tread this path of nishreyasa. Nishreyasa. That is something which is permanent. Nishreyasa. Something which is always there and which will never perish. Imperishable. Evam hi loka kratubhi krita ami shaishnava satishayana nirmalaha tasmadadrishta shruta dushanam param bhaktyoktyayesham bhajatatmalabdhaye kratubhi krita ami. See, he said that he was pointing towards, who is pointing? Prahlada is telling the friends, pointing towards the present life. He says that the present life, definitely it is transitory. And do not think that the heavens is permanent. No. Evam ami lokaha kratubihi kritaha shaishnavaha. Says that you may think that by doing the yajna and all that you will get Swargaloka and other heavenly abode. They are also transient and perishable. And though from the human life, it is considered that those are having more of enjoyment, more of comfort, more of luxury. It is not at all a pure life. It will cause lot of disturbance to the mind. Na nirmalaha, satishaya na nirmalaha. They are not, although more comfortable and pleasing, they are not free from disturbances. They are not pure. Tasmat, therefore, atmalabdhai, therefore for self-realization. Who is saying? Prahlada, the small boy, is telling whom? His friends. Therefore, my friends, for self-realization, atmalabdhai, uktaya bhaktya, adrishta shrutadushanam isham param bhajet. He says that, therefore, my friends, I am telling you, I am pleading with you, with great devotion, we should worship the Supreme Lord, who is not been seen by us, not even heard properly. So, adrishta shrutadushanam, who we have not listened, we have not seen him, and we have not heard anything wrong about him. So, that Supreme Lord one should worship. He is telling his friends. And ultimately he says, my dear friends, I am telling you, pleading with you, etavaneva lokesmin pumsaha swarthaha parasmritah ekanta bhaktir govinde yat sarvatra tadikshanam. He is trying his best to bring about this change in the minds of his friends. The friends are also small boys like him. And you know, they used to be very interested. Whenever the teachers would go out for some job of theirs, Prahlad would call all the friends and start preaching all these things. And the friends also will surround him, and with unblinking eyes they will be listening to him. When the teachers will come back, they will be surprised, they will be angry at what this Prahlada is talking to them. And that is how they went and complained to Hiranyakashipu, Prahlada's father. And that is another story. So Prahlada is trying hard to bring about a change from the asura bhava. What are the asura bhavas? Ashubha atmanaha. Asura bhavas are in Bhagavad Gita, it all listed. What are the asura sampatti? That is all the tendencies which are making the mind absolutely agitated, non-contented and disturbed. And in such a disturbed mind, one cannot have the union with the self. So these asura bhavas are the tendencies of people who are having asura pravrittis. So these asura balakas, the children of the asuras, they were mostly having this kind of bhava. Actually, Prahlada is somebody which is very, very special, different from everybody in their lineage. So he is trying his best to change the mind of his dear friends and telling them all these things so that they will start propitiating and worshipping God. And propitiating and worshipping God means what? Not giving puja. He says also at one time, just before this, in this instruction only, he says, my dear friends, God is not pleased with many of the things with which he is worshipped. God is pleased with priyate amalaya bhaktya hariranyad vidambanam. God is pleased when anybody shows pure bhakti, unmotivated, unconditional bhakti. That is, I love you because I love you. I don't want anything from you, O God. Our bhakti, what we call bhakti is that I am doing puja, worship, everything. Please see to it that I pass the exam, or my family is okay, or my disease should be cured, or I should win in this case. All these things. I should get a promotion, or my son should get a promotion. Like this. We are constantly asking. Little things we are asking. But a pure devotee, a true devotee, his bhakti is unconditional. He doesn't want anything. That is what Yogi Prabuddha has said. One should transcend from that level where we are worshipping and asking from God. Where our bhakti, we love God, no doubt. We are quite fond of God. But it is as if God is somebody where we will please Him with all our pujas and then ask from Him, please give me this and that. It is not like that. A true devotee is one who doesn't want anything. He doesn't even want mukti. In Bhagavatam, beautiful shlokas are there. My dear children, when I read them, and when I read them means when first I read them, my heart melted. Can I be like this, where I'll not ask anything? I can say I don't want anything. It's a heart-melting situation. So Prahlada is trying very hard. His small friends, he loves them very much. So he knows what is the truth in this life. Pursuing what, gaining what, one can have permanent happiness, permanent peace, joy, delight, no fear. So he is telling them, please do this, my dear friends. You know, if we worship God with many items, God is not pleased by that. God is pleased by priyate amalaya bhaktya. With amala bhakti, with pure bhakti, God is pleased. And rest, everything else, he feels it is an ostentation. Hariranyad vidambanam. It is all ostentation. God doesn't come and talk to us, no? The image or idol cannot talk to us. So he cannot speak out that I consider these as vidambanam. Who is telling us? The holy people through their words. Because they are nitya yukta. They live in God. So what exactly one should do? One should think. What should be one's own activity? The thought process. They are telling us in their written words or told words. Earlier days it was not written, only told from one person to another. So he says, Vedavyasa, through the words of Prahlada, is telling, Priyate amalaya bhaktya hariranyad vidambanam. Nothing pleases God except amala bhakti, pure bhakti. So he says that Etavaneva lokesmin pumsaha swarthaha parasmritaha ekanta bhaktir govinde yat sarvatra tadikshanam. He says, in this world, asmin loke pumsaha paraha swarthaha, for men, the highest goal, the supreme attainment, paraha swarthaha, that is for oneself. For men, for oneself, what is the highest or supreme attainment? It is thought to be like this. Etavaneva smritaha. Yat govinda ekanta bhaktihi sarvatra tad ikshanam. He says that this is what is thought to be the highest attainment for humans. What? That when one pointed bhakti in Govinda is gained, one pointed bhakti in Govinda or Lord Hari or Vishnu or Brahman, whatever you say, is gained, then he is seen everywhere. Everywhere. That is one pointedness in that, whether you call it God, self, Brahman, that one pointedness, when the mind only wants that, then what will happen? You will see him everywhere. That devotion will make you see God everywhere. That is why Prahlada was Govinda Parirambhita. So with this, I think I will stop. I have completed this Prabhuddha, Yogi Prabhuddha. But I felt that 2 shlokas I will teach you, which will be very helpful to for a practice, a simple practice. My dear children, I have also done sadhana, and I think my whole life has been a sadhana, a journey of a seeker, wanting what? Wanting purity, sublimity, divinity, always, everywhere, at all the time. And slowly I understood that is called self-realization. I think there are certain shlokas, as I was saying, nobody has taught us from childhood that we should think like this. This should be, yes, we should be studying different subjects, academic subjects we have to study, we have to acquire knowledge so that we can build a career and the life will go on. But along with this, nobody has taught us that along with this academic knowledge of subjects, various subjects, we should also think every moment that I am God's and I am created by God, that He is all-pervading, that He is inside, outside, everywhere. Nobody has taught us to think like this so that it would have become a habit. We have been taught to worship. Yes, that is also very good. We should be doing so. But we have been taught to worship only for a little while. We have not been guided how to make that remembrance and the presence of God to be felt every time and everywhere. Now we are learning. And in learning that, because our habit has been different, it takes time. We forget. As soon as we get up in the morning, there is so much of work to do, and the mind goes into that. We have not learned how every work can be thought of as God's work, given by Him, how we can think that I am an instrument of God, how every moment while working, I can still have the feeling that I am working for God. I am not doing anything. I am not the doer. I am not the doer. To be established in these, there are certain things which will help us. And I felt that to feel that God is everywhere, inside us, outside us, there are 2 shlokas which I have learned from Swamiji. How many times he has taught these? How many times even now he tells? I felt, and very recently in that Dakshin Khanda satsang, he taught these 2 shlokas. And so beautifully he explained it. I felt it will be very helpful. It has been very helpful for me also, always. So today we'll learn this shloka. I have also chanted these shlokas in my talks, in these online sessions, but today we will learn it. And I will tell Nandita to chant following me, and I'll explain it. Maybe many of you know it also, but just knowing a shloka will not do, my dear children. The feeling that I have known so many shlokas, I have learned so many shlokas, I know everything by heart, what of that? Each and every word has to be ruminated upon and lived into it. Lived into it. Each and every word you must feel that you have soaked the essence of the word and you have become that. Till that is done, chant, chant, chant. Maybe you will not get time because so much work is to be done. But whenever you get time, whenever you remember, in the midst of work even sometimes, maybe one word will just pop up in your mind and feel it. This feeling the words, this is very, very important. Yonta pravishya mama vachamimam prasuptam sanjeevayatyakila shaktidhara swadhamna anyamsya hastacharana श्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं. नंदिता. योऽन्तःप्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां
प्रसुप्तां
सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरः
सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरः
स्वधाम्ना
अन्यांश्च हस्तचरण श्रवणत्वगादीन्
प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं योऽन्तःप्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं This is a shloka which Dhruva says, and you know, I've told you many times that Dhruva was meditating upon Mahavishnu, and Mahavishnu, when he decided, he came to know that such a small boy is meditating and doing lot of penance, remembering me, and he just gave him darshan. And Dhruva, in his mind, he was meditating upon the beautiful form, the Chaturbhujadhari, Shankha Chakra Gada Padmadhari Mahavishnu. He was meditating on that form, and suddenly that form went away, and he opened his eyes and found Mahavishnu in front of him. He was overwhelmed. He was wanting to sing some stuti. No word was coming. His lips were quivering. Then Mahavishnu, understanding the wishes of this small boy, touched his cheek with the shankha, the conch, and words started coming out. And this little boy started singing the hymns of praise of Mahavishnu. Everything was coming to him, and he was just singing the hymns. The first one is this, which says he's first doing pranam to God. He could have asked for anything, but the first thought that came to him, just see. That is why Swamiji teaches this. And this is so important. We forget God always. This boy did not forget. What is he saying? He says, Yaha Akhila Shakti Dharaha, that God, the Supreme Consciousness, possessor of all power, Akhila Shakti Dharaha, possessor of all power, all strength, Antapravishya, having entered my being, Mama Imam Prasuptam Vacham Sanjeevayati, my speech which was dormant, he has activated them. Swadhamna, by virtue of his presence within me, Anyam, Hasta, Charana, Shravana, Tvagadin, Pranam cha. He said that not only he has entered my being and has activated my dormant speech, by his presence within me, he has also empowered my limbs, Hasta, Charana, hands and feet. Then my Shravana, my hearing capacity, Tvagadin, my touching capacity and feeling and sensing, Pranam cha, and all the vital forces, everything he has empowered. So, I do pranam to that Supreme Bhagavan, Supreme Lord. He is recognizing this fact. Dhruva, the small boy of 5 years, is recognizing the fact that he is able to talk, that he is able to do penance, that he is able to talk, that he is able to do anything with his hand, feet, ears, and all the senses, everything, the mind and intelligence, everything is because of this one consciousness which is within us, and that is God. Actually, everything that we do, all our sensory organs, sound, touch, taste, color, smell, and all these things are had through the ear, skin, tongue, eye, nose, etc. The sensory organs like ear, skin, tongue, eye, nose, etc. Through these, we are able to touch, taste, and see the color and smell. All these things are happening. Why? Because of the consciousness. Also, the mind, the inner organs like mind and intelligence, they are also able to have all their experiences because of the presence of this consciousness, or the presence within. In the devotional text it is God, the Supreme God is within. And we know it is the soul within, the self, the Atma. So, while moving about in this world and performing various activities, we should chant this shloka frequently, remembering ourselves, reminding ourselves that this is what is happening. That I am able to do this work is not because I am doing. I should not take the credit. We take the credit. We feel I have done, I have planned, I have executed, I have been successful. Everything I. That I-ness will simply dissolve if we think like this, with lot of humility. And this is why, we have to constantly, if we chant this shloka, at least even if you do not chant, remember the essence of this shloka. It makes one feel so humble. It makes one feel so insignificant. The I becomes zero. I have nothing. I cannot control anything. My every organ is being activated and enlivened because of that conscience, because of that inner presence that is there. If that was not there, our body would have been a corpse, would not be able to do anything. Because the body, if it has to be acting or if it has to be doing something sentient must activate it. And that sentience is the presence, the soul, the Atma. And the second shloka, see, we talked about, he's saying that Dhruva is saying, you who is having all power, all strength, you have entered my being and making me enlivened. You have activated all my organs and you have given me this life. He is saying that, remaining inside me. Now is the sloka, we have to see God everywhere. As we see and understand that He is within us, we are being activated by Him. All our limbs are active, we are seeing, our hearing, our smelling, our tasting, our touching, everything is getting activated. The mind and intelligence also are active because of that inner presence. That same inner presence is everywhere. So, it is not only that we just think this, we have to think that He is everywhere. And a very simple sloka, my dear children. Kham vayumagnim salilam mahim cha jyotim shi sattvani disho drumadin sarit samudramscha hare shariram yatkincha bhutam pranamedananyah kham vayumagnim salilam mahim cha jyotim shi sattvani disho drumadin sarit samudramscha hare shariram yatkincha bhutam pranamedananyah. Beautiful sloka. Here he's saying that the same soul or self or God who is activating everything in the body, the same one is everywhere in everything. All the things that we come across in day-to-day life, we do not look at them from that angle. We do not interact with them in thinking that they are God. They are also God. But in this sloka it is reminding us, kham, space, vayum, wind, agni, fire, salilam, water, mahim, earth, jyotinshi, all the celestial objects, sattvani, all the living creatures, dishaha, all the directions. We are surrounded by the directions. Drumadin, all the trees and plants, bushes and shrubs, everything. Sarit, rivers. Samudramscha, oceans. What are they? Hare Shariram. Hare Shariram. God is all pervading. So where is He not? So all the things that we interact with every day, it's nothing but He. We are not looking like that. We are not looking at everything like that. As I am an embodied being, similarly all other living creatures, mobile, immobile, and living and non-living, everything. If God is all pervading, everywhere He is. There is nowhere that He is not. So considering that in a devotional manner, Hare Shariram, God is so vast that He is enveloping everything. Yatkincha bhutam pranamedananyah. Thinking like this, the mind will be constantly bowing down in pranam. What do we do when we go to see a temple? We go in front of the deity, the idol or image, and what do? We do pranam. That pranam has to be done everywhere. Because where is He not? My dear children, such a deep shloka this is. So much of depth it has. If we consider, we have this knowledge, even if one is not a spiritual person, not a spiritual seeker, from the very childhood we know that God is everywhere. We know this phrase. But do we do anything to understand that God is everywhere? If God is everywhere, everywhere He is. In everything that we interact with, at every moment, our thoughts, our speeches, our actions, our interactions, our ideas, our emotions, our sentiments, our bhavas, whether good, bad, everything is He and He alone. He and He alone. So, this is what we should see. When we look at nature, we feel that, oh, nature is so beautiful. We go for sightseeings. We feel nature is so beautiful, God has created. But we only make our mind limited. We don't find that God everywhere in other things also. When we see a beautiful flower, we feel that, oh, so beautiful. We want to pluck it and take it, possess it. If we find a very good ripe fruit in the tree, we want to pluck it and eat it. Let us do that, no harm. But the thought should come that, oh, see how God has created, what all He has created, so much variety He has created. Associate yourself with God. Every moment, my dear children, these two slokas are very, very important and very simple also. Simply chant them, learn them, chant them. If you cannot chant in this tune, any other tune, your own tune, maybe no tune, but chant them, understand them, assimilate it, live every word that you are uttering. And within no time, you will find that so much change has come. Bhakti, virakti, bhagavat prabodha. Bhakti would have increased, virakti would have increased. That is, one will come away from the worldliness, all kinds of worldly thoughts, all kinds of anatma chinta, one will come away from it. And slowly one will proceed towards bhagavat prabodha, realization of the self, God realization, self realization. Okay. Sampurnam jagadeva nandanavanam sarvepi kalpadrumaha Gangam vari samasta vari nivaha punya samasta kriyaha vajah prakrita samskrita shruti shiro varanasi medini sarvavasthitirasya vastu vishaya drishti parabrahmani sarvavasthitirasya vastu vishaya drishti parabrahmani. Jai Guru, Jai Guru.